This all-electric travel trailer behind me is the Pebble Flow Founders Edition. Normally I would give you a full walkthrough of this trailer. However, there are so many unique and different features about it that the only way to really see and experience those is to take it out camping for a few days. And that's exactly what we're gonna do. Just picked up our Pebble Flow trailer, and we've got a Rivian that we're towing it with. So this is a new experience, both from a tow vehicle standpoint and the trailer standpoint.
After getting a detailed walkthrough of the Pebble Flow with the Pebble RV team, it was time to hit the road in this all-electric RV. Our first stop, the grocery store. That short drive gave us the perfect chance to get comfortable towing an EV trailer behind the Rivian and experience what it's actually like maneuvering and parking an electric travel trailer in a regular, everyday parking lot. We kept the shopping trip quick, just in case the lot filled up and we had to navigate our way out while towing the EV trailer. Thankfully, that wasn't an issue. Kate jumped in and started loading groceries into the 6.5 cubic foot fridge, and she even checked the freezer size before we grabbed a few pints of our favorite protein ice cream. It didn't take long to get everything put away, and with plenty of food and snacks for the next couple of days, we were ready to head out to our first campsite with the Pebble Flow.
One of the many unique things about the Pebble Flow that we have not experienced in another camper is that the entire camper is primarily controlled through this iPad. And before we can get started, I have to take the parking brake of the trailer off, and to do that I have to press that button and then confirm that yes, we're ready to go, my brake is on. And then there's a pre-tow checklist. Once I confirm that, the parking brake of the trailer is now off and I can drive off. This has a 45 kilowatt battery system in the trailer, along with 2 electric motors. So while we're driving, we can actually turn on the electric motors and they are going to assist in us going down the road. We could go the other way, which is we could use those electric motors to regenerate the energy in the battery and charge up the battery as we're going down the road. So it'll go either way. Right now we're in neutral mode, so we're not pulling from the battery, we're not putting back in. And we're actually going to try now to try the assist feature and see what that feels like. And the trailer itself, they were saying dry weight is around 5,800 pounds, and it has a GVWR of 6,800 pounds. We had easy tow on for 10 minutes just to get an idea of it. I didn't feel any difference while we were driving. I did notice that the average miles per kilowatt hour went up slightly, and we're going to arrive at camp with 68% battery rather than the 67 that it estimated before. I'm sure if we kept driving with it, it's just going to get better on our end, but we did lose 2% battery on the camper itself. We're going to be boondocking all day today, so we figured no sense in using the battery in the camper up tonight because we want it for camping. But if you're on a long drive and you're going to be charging up anyway, you might as well be using that to help you reduce the amount of battery or gas that your tow vehicle is using.
While the iPad can control a lot of this electric RV's features, some of the basics still have to be done by hand, like disconnecting the 7-pin connector, the safety chains, and the emergency breakaway cable. But once that's done, the tech takes over. I extended the jack right from the iPad instead of cranking it manually, and once the coupler was free from the ball hitch, I used the remote control feature to position the Pebble Flow exactly where I wanted it. There are 4 cameras around the exterior of the electric RV, though they aren't activated yet. It's easy to imagine features like Sentry Mode or proximity alerts being added through future software updates for extra visibility and peace of mind when parking or setting up camp. From there, it's as simple as tapping InstaCamp on the iPad and letting the Pebble Flow take over. The system automatically levels the electric RV, adjusting the front jack, deploying the rear stabilizers, and dropping the other stabilizers into place. Once the steps slide out, that's our cue that setup is complete. Before heading inside, we did lower the aero box so it wouldn't block the front window view when we were sitting at the dinette.
We're all set up at our harvest house. I got to use all the fun features on the app to kind of get this into position and move it. So we had the sun coming down with all the windows here. It's going to be a gorgeous evening with all of the olive grove trees around us. Now we're going to go inside because this is also a spa. I'm going to book myself a spa treatment.
Since the Pebble team surprised us with a brand new coffee machine, I booked a massage later in the day to give us time to relax, enjoy a cup, and get more familiar with the space. This Nespresso setup is definitely a step up from the one in our own camper. It might be time for an upgrade. While the coffee was brewing, we switched the windows from opaque to clear so we could enjoy the view around us.
You know, the first time I drove an electric vehicle, I really had to relearn how to drive a car. Not so much keeping it between the lines, but all the different tech and ways of doing things in an EV compared to a gas or diesel powered vehicle. And I'm having to do the same thing with this camper because it is completely different than any other RV we've been in. Just the way everything works and all of that. And trying to go through all the options on this iPad to figure out what it is I have to do or need to do or can do.
So here's the energy screen. Here's what our solar panels are bringing in. Here's what our appliances are taking out. So we're about even right now. We're not charging and we're not using the motors. And the battery's at 76% currently.
The cell service isn't all that great, so I'm going to go set up Starlink. Now, Pebble gave us a Starlink to use for this trip. It does not come with one, but there are outlets in this travel trailer outside that we can plug into and run the Starlink. Now, the thing with the outdoor bays is I have to use the iPad in order to open up those bays. I just can't walk out there, press a button, and have them open.
That massage was fantastic, feeling nice and relaxed. I think there was a frozen pizza in the freezer that someone left, so we're gonna cook that up and just relax for the evening and maybe drive into downtown Livermore to see what that area is like. You know, it may sound silly, but I do like the fact that you can drop off this trailer and then just move it whichever way you want. It's nice because you don't always have to park going this way in a row, for example. You can turn it a bit. Maybe turn it towards what you like. If you want to see the sunrise, turn it that way in the morning, and then turn it back in the evening to see the sunset.
Bottom is pretty wet.
Oh, it is?
Take a look.
Based on our observation of the pizza, we're gonna play it safe and not eat the pizza.
Luckily, we have a backup. So what I'm going to do is make a turkey salad. shower time. Decent sized sink in here. Got a medicine cabinet. A few shelves. Hooks. Buttons for the toilet. And the restroom lights. The vent button. This is the window. Toilet. There's the fan. That shower curtain. Shower wand, and this will turn it on. And this hot water is on demand. Very good shower, good water pressure, but let's see how much water I used. Let's see, the fresh water percentage did not change. The gray water went up from 11 to 16. Which means I left plenty of water for Joe to take a long shower.
And we are going to a full hookup campsite tomorrow, so we can dump and fill up. After Kate's shower, she's now ready for bed, but before I convert this area to the bedroom, I wanted to discuss what it currently is. So this is just, it's a big open space. You have this desk here, which is nice, but the only piece of furniture you have back here is this single chair. And then there is storage down here. However, you can't access it when the bed is down. To stow the chair, you put it on the floor. And their suggestion was to kind of wedge it under the bed. Now to put the bed down, that's fairly simple. There's a lock here, a little handle. And I learned this the hard way. If you leave your feet out, this will come down and so you keep feet clear. But when the bed comes down, what's great is you can leave the bed made and now you have all this space back here. But with this piece of wood here, you can't stow anything under the bed that you want or need access to. It'd be nice if there's the foot on the end and you could slide things under the bed at night or other things. You have a RV sized queen bed back here and a nice open area, plenty of headroom if you want to sit up in bed and read or do other things. They do give you a projector instead of putting a TV in here. And they said you could set up the projector and project it onto this wall. There's an outlet over here and there's an outlet behind this pillow. So if you need to charge a device at night, run a CPAP machine or something like that, you can do so. Plenty of outlets around here, so that is nice. Okay, so here's where we sit in the morning. Just after 7. We have 20% battery left because we are running the heat all night. And the heat is currently off because we are at 20%. We got this little warning that below 20%, some features are unavailable. Easy tow, the 110 outlets, heating, cooling, tank heaters, privacy windows, and lights. So we can turn off energy saving mode for temporary outlet power. It said we could turn off the outlets, or turn them back on, I should say, temporarily. So energy saving. Okay, power's back on. Unfortunately, we can't make the windows clear in power saving mode.
Let me see. One decaf latte in the making. I'll be curious to see where our power is once we're done with morning coffee and beverages.
Well, I'm just happy we can turn the outlets on for 30 minutes.
Yes, because we all know if Joe couldn't make coffee this morning, we were probably in the Rivian driving to town right now.
It's quite the latte.
You like my latte art?
I do. What is it?
4 little pebbles.
In the Pebble flow. Fantastic.
Yum.
How's the little seating area back there for you?
Good. I like sitting this way. I can use this as a little desk. And if the windows are clear, I can look at the olive grove. The energy saving feature is back on. And after coffee and charging devices, we're at 18%.
We've experienced boondocking in the Pebble flow. Now it's time to head to a campground and experience full hookups. Okay, so we're gonna kind of reverse what we did last night. So Instacamp, I'm gonna hit that. Now the jacks and everything are going to retract. Front jack actually raised itself so we can get it hooked up to the Rivian, but now I get to be a big kid and remote control this thing over to the Rivian. I don't have to back up to it. Now that we're within about 5 feet, I hold the dead man switch and magic hitch gets illuminated. I hit that and now it's gonna hitch itself up. So we're getting an error message with the magic hitch. It's telling us that the terrain is too uneven in order for it to connect. And I gave the guys at Pebble a call. They said if you're over a 6% grade, you will see that error message. But as you can see here, it's pretty flat. So the only thing I'm wondering is maybe something with the terrain here and all the wood chips in that is preventing it or not letting it get to that hitch. So what we're gonna do is there is a even flatter grass patch over there. I'm gonna drive the Rivian over there, and then I'm going to remote control the trailer all the way over there and see if we can hook up there. Otherwise, we're doing this the old-fashioned way. So it worked, but it didn't work. I think the gravel wood chips back there were what was impeding it. But what's happened now is it's come down directly on top of the hitch and not centered on the ball. So I'm gonna have to either move the Rivian a little bit or see if I can remote this so that the ball pops into the coupler. There we go. I noticed yesterday when we took this into Livermore, the ride feel was set to soft. So I bumped it up to firm. I don't know what it was at yesterday when we had the trailer, but I left it at firm. So we'll see if that makes any difference in how this goes down the road. Because yesterday it was bouncing quite a bit when we went over dips and things like that.
And after all that remote control fun, we're at 17% battery on the Pebble.
Even though it would have been easy to just back the EV trailer into the campsite, I couldn't pass up another chance to remote control this 6,000-pound Pebble flow into position. In the time it took me to walk over to the Rivian and back it into the campsite, Instacamp had leveled the camper and deployed all of the stabilizers. All that was left to do was plug in the camper, especially since it was at 14% battery. The Pebble team mentioned that you can pull up to certain EV charging stations to top off the electric RV if needed, but we didn't have to on this trip. It supports level 1 and level 2 AC charging, and even level 3 DC fast charging through a built-in charge port.
So we're currently charging. We're getting 5.8 kilowatts per hour. What this is doing is it is first dumping the black tank, and then all of these have macerator pumps, so it's dumping the black tank and pumping that out. Then it's pumping the gray tank through the black tank through the hose to clean everything, and then it'll add a little bit of fresh water to kind of do a final flush.
With the tanks dumped and the electric RV charging, it was finally time to unwind and enjoy the beautiful weather around us.
Well, we got to test the heater last night, and we're gonna get to test the AC right now because it is hot in here. For the heat, the fan, and the AC, all of the vents are at the corners of this. So 2 here and then 2 over there. So they all come out and kind of push outward. The AC with everything else is drawing about 2.5. We're getting 0.5 kilowatt of solar, and with being plugged into the 50 amp, we're positive 4 kilowatts an hour. We are making steaks, and we're gonna have another salad. So I'm gonna do that in here. We can take the cooktop and actually move it outside. The problem is I don't believe we have an extension cord. Plus they are mowing the area around. That's why we wanted to close all the windows and put the AC on, because there's grass and pollen up in the air right now. We have 2 New York strips and 1 maple bourbon bacon kit. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna have myself a drink. And this is what I was talking about with the stove. So you can lift it, unplug it, and take it with you.
What I would do is take the induction cooktop, put it here, there's an outlet over there, plug it in, and have hot pot.
We've got a light and a vent. As Kate and I were talking about this camper, what I started to realize is that this is a departure from normal RVs. And it's hard to think of this in context to other RVs, even though you take it RVing. This thing has a lot of different tech than most RVs on the market. A lot of it is automotive grade. They have a different type of heater, AC unit, the battery system, the fact that you can drive this around a campground, and all sorts of different things on this that set it apart from a normal RV. One of which being that this is a software-based system or camper, meaning they can do upgrades similar to an electric vehicle like a Tesla, where they can send out upgrades and make changes to the vehicle and do other things to make it more efficient. They can do that with this camper. Now, what we found last night was we were running the heat all night long, and you would think with 45 kilowatts of battery, we could go forever. But we used a good portion of that battery last night when we were sleeping. And when we were talking to some of the founders of the company, what they were saying is they know efficiency is something they need to improve on. You know, this is number 1 of 500 of the Founders Edition. You know, in the future, you can continue to get upgrades, which I think is kind of exciting and not really something you can do with RVs unless you're taking components out and replacing them. The other thing I want to bring up is price. So this is the Founders Edition, which means it comes with all of the options except nightshades or sunshades, depending on how you use them. That is an additional option, and it costs $179,000. Now, another thing we haven't talked about yet is traveling with family. You have a tow vehicle, you have plenty of seats, you can bring kids and things along. This dinette converts into another bed. And with this converted, you could definitely sleep 1 adult, maybe 2, but definitely a couple kids. So if you wanted to bring your family along, you can do that with this.
And if you're traveling with furry family members, Pebble thought of them too. There are 2 built-in bowls tucked into the kitchen galley right next to the entry door, making it easy to keep food and water ready without cluttering up the floor. The Pebble Flow also came with the optional blackout shades, but we really didn't find a need for them. Being able to shift the windows from clear to opaque on demand was more than enough for us.
All right, well, we are packing up because this is the end of our trip, and the first thing to do is dump our tanks. So I'm just doing it from in here on the iPad. So auto dump, yes, there it goes. That can dump while we're packing up, and then all I have to do is put the hose away. Well, that is it for our time in the Pebble Flow. Magic hitch, work like magic this morning. And I would love to know what your favorite feature of the Flow is down in the comments below. Well, we are headed home, and that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want to check out more of our videos, head on over to our YouTube channel at We're the Russos. We'll see you next time. Bye.